Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek. Quick news bite today. Just what is it? Three stories today, and so let's just get on with it, shall we? Before we start, apologies again for my background. You see my living room. I tried my software, that deletes it all, but it's still playing up. It's leaving big splotchy patterns everywhere. It's not like chopping me off and leaving big bits. I don't get it, and it's all. I lit it all up. It were all lovely and lit up, so it should define the edges of me, but it wasn't doing. Maybe I'm non-corporeal. I don't know. So you've got to put up with my living room. And while we're at it, don't forget, up there, like and subscribe, share the videos, and all that stuff. Right. Let's get the news up. Where is it? There it is. This is from a Hollywood Reporter. As usual, the links are in the description below. Next, Planet of the Apes cast. Title unveiled. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes begins production next month, and there's a bit of what they call it, production art. What they call it, concept art. That's the word I'm looking for. It shows an ape, or was it a chimp, on horseback, doing a bit of what they call that as well, where you use hawks and stuff, like Kez. Falconry. That's what I'm looking for. With the ruined city in the background, so a bit of a Horizon Forbidden West vibe there, isn't there? Or that one, that had Andy Serkis in it. What are they called now? It was based on the monkey stories, the Chinese monkey that were made into the series Monkey, where they flew about on a cloud. But they did a sci-fi game about it, and I forgot what that was called. Something like Journey to the West or something like that, wasn't it? Whatever. Got a bit of a vibe of that, overgrown city, Last of Us and all that. Right, so let's have a read. Right, we won't listen, we'll have a read. The next Planet of the Apes movie is coming into focus with 20th Century Studios. Remember, it used to be 20th Century Fox. Then Disney bought them out, and now it's just 20th Century Studios. It's the end of an era. What will they do with the new X-Men films? Because they used to have 20th Century Fox, and as it faded out, the X part, didn't it? The X part of the Fox used to linger slightly, didn't it? Well, they can't do that now. Anyway, I wonder if they'll do it with the searchlights crossing over. I bet they do. Anyway, whatever. Confirming the cast for the newly titled Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The film, from director Wes Ball. I'd never heard of him, but thanks to Mr. H, he told me through his video that Wes Ball directed the Maze Runner films. Or at least one of them, I don't know. I haven't looked him up. Will star, and I don't know any of these either, will star Owen Teague alongside newly announced cast members Freya Allen and Peter Macon. Oh, no, Peter Macon, he plays Bortas in The Orville. So I bet he's an ape. It is slated for a 2024 release. I wonder if all these will be apes, or I wonder if some will be humans. Freya Allen, I've seen a picture of her. She might be down here, actually. There she is. She's very pretty. I can't imagine them covering her up as an ape, so I bet she's a human. But will she be a talking one? Because they lost the ability to speak, didn't they? The like virus or whatever it was got out, didn't it? And it shut up Woody Harrelson, didn't it? he suddenly couldn't talk and became more primitive in the previous film, War for the Planet of the Apes. Anyway, it is slated for a 2024 release. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes picks up many years after the War for the Planet of the Apes, the 2017 feature that concluded the previous trilogy and used motion capture technology to tell the origin story of Caesar, a chimp that leads the simians toward revolution. It wasn't really revolution, though, was it? They didn't rise up against humans, did they? They were... The plague was inadvertently released by David Hewlett, of all people, in the first film, and then it spread, didn't it? And people started, dying and stuff. Society collapsed and all that, didn't it? But the apes that had escaped at the end of the first film, were okay, and they started up their own society. So it wasn't a revolution, really, was it? It's that they were survived alongside, the human survivors. Anyway, Andy Serkis starred as Caesar, with Matt Reeves directing the final 2 instalments to critical acclaim. Josh Friedman, Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver and Patrick Ason will pen the script. Joe Hartwick Jr., Jaffa Silver and Jason Reed are producing, with Peter Chernin and Jenno Topping executive producing. I've never heard of any of them. That name rings a bell though, Josh Friedman, I've seen that somewhere. But all the others, no idea who they are. Planet of the Apes is one of the most iconic and storied science fiction franchises in film history, as well as being an indelible part of our studio's legacy, Steve Asbell, president of 20th Century Studios, said in a statement. With Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, we are privileged to continue the series' tradition of imaginative, thought-provoking cinema, and can't wait to share Wes's extraordinary vision for this new chapter with audiences in 2024. Planet of the Apes, based on the 1963 novel by Pierre Boulle, was first adapted for the screen in the 1968 film starring Charlton Heston. The book was originally called Le Planète des Singes, which means monkey planet. But I think singe in French can also mean ape. It's like interchangeable. As well as monkey, which spawned 4 sequels and 2 TV series. The 2 TV series being Planet of the Apes, the live-action version, and the animated one, which I think what it called, Return to the Planet of the Apes, something like that, wasn't it? Tim Burton directed a 2001 reboot, which, were not terrible, but the makeup and stuff, especially on Tim Roth, were amazing. And Fox relaunched the franchise in 2011 with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which, that were a really good trilogy of films. To date, the films have grossed $1.7 billion globally. It's not a lot, is it? Is that including the originals? The original from the 68 to whatever it was, 73 or whatever, 74. Is that including them and the Tim Burtons and the other 3 as well? It's not a lot, is it? 1.7. I mean, Endgame and Avatar individually made more than that. So that's not a lot. Have they got that wrong? Anyway, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes goes into production next month. So looking forward to that. I don't think Caesar will be in it unless he's in passing, or we see him, at the end of his life, maybe somebody takes over. But it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Will we get to see the Lawmaker? Is it the Lawmaker? You see, John Huston mentioned him in one of the original Planet of the Apes films. I forgot what it was called, Proteus or something like that. We'll see something along those lines. Probably not, because it's a new timeline. It's not really connected to the original films, is it? So there you go. New Planet of the Apes film coming in 2024. Hopefully it'll be good. Right. Christian Bale has hilarious Star Wars role pitch. Christian Bale restates his hope to join the Star Wars franchise with a funny pitch for a role he'd love to take on involving a certain stormtrooper. I wish I had the good for you thing on, but I haven't. I've just got applause. Christian Bale's pitch for a role in the Star Wars universe is as funny as it is surprising. Bale has enjoyed an impressive career since his days as a child star, transitioning into a successful long-term career and becoming one of today's biggest movie stars. The actor is well known for his commitment to his performances, particularly in films such as American Psycho, The Fighter, which earned him an Oscar, The Machinist, which he lost loads of weight for, didn't he? No stranger to fandom-centric properties, Bale recently starred in Thor: Love and Thunder as the film's antagonist, Gore the God Butcher. Prior to that film, he enjoyed an iconic run as Bruce Wayne/Batman in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy from 2005 to 2012. Don't forget, excuse me, he played John Connor in Terminator Salvation. A lot of people don't like that film. They say, the Terminator sequels are all rubbish. But I really enjoyed Terminator Salvation. It did something different. Anyway, a long-time fan of Star Wars, Bale has been vocal about his desire to join the franchise in the past. Though Star Wars started out with the Skywalker saga, it has long expanded past the titular family and delved into other stories. In fact, Bale previously mentioned being tempted to sign on for Solo, a Star Wars story, a film about the main trilogy's focus on fan favourite character Han Solo, though he didn't end up in the film. With the Disney Plus live-action series offering limitless possibilities for new Star Wars stories, there are plenty of options for Bale in the future, and he has his eye on an unexpected choice. I'm going to burp. Oh, while speaking with THR, the Hollywood Reporter, Bale talked about the role he's always wanted in the Star Wars franchise. Excuse me. Oh dear. According to Bale, his dream Star Wars role was to be the clumsy stormtrooper who became legend among fans for hitting his head on a doorframe in Star Wars A New Hope. Star Wars. Given that the role has long been filled, though, Bale admits that he'd take any role in the franchise due to his lifelong fandom. Check out what he had to say below. All I ever wanted in Star Wars was to be in a Star Wars outfit and hit my head on a door or something as I walk through. The real nerds who watch Star Wars way too many times always knew about that one scene where the stormtrooper hits his head on the door as he comes through. I wanted to be that guy. That was it. But look, if I'm fortunate enough to be more than that, oh man, yeah, what a delight that would be. I've still got the figures from when I was little. I also know Kathy Kennedy very well because she was working with Spielberg when I did Empire of the Sun, fetching coffee and stuff for him. And now she runs the Star Wars universe. So there he is, clonking his head. Look, clonk, and George Lucas added a sound effect, didn't he, in his special editions. Though it's unlikely, and he also in the prequel trilogy in Attack of the Clones, he has Jango Fett banging his head, getting onto Slave One, which is supposed to be a nod to that, even though this isn't a clone trooper, this is a stormtrooper, so they buggered that up, didn't he? Though it's unlikely that viewers will see Bale return as the clumsy stormtrooper, there are plenty of potential roles for the actor in Star Wars, with so many new characters being introduced in Disney Plus TV shows, such as The Mandalorian and Andor, some introduced as one-offs and some possessing larger roles. He could inhabit a comedic cameo role like Jason Sudeikis and Adam Pally did, as the two banter-sharing stormtroopers who punched Grogu, or opt for a meatier main role. If he chose the latter, fans have previously imagined Bale as Star Wars The Force Unleashed video game character Galen Marek Starkiller, though such a role is unlikely for him. Yeah, they should get the fellow that his likeness were based on, whose name I forgot, but he voiced characters in Clone Wars and Rebels, didn't he? What's his name now? Oh, I can't remember. And he's an actor. He was in The Mist, and he was in the American version of that series with werewolves and vampires living in a house together. I forgot what it's called now. Almost Human or Nearly Human or something like that. He was in that as well, and I forgot his name. If a live-action Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic film or Disney Plus series were on the table in the future, Bale has already been fan-cast by some as the fascinating character Darth Revan. Bale's presence wouldn't be distracting in the Star Wars universe despite his A-lister status due to his ability. Oh, it popped in my head his name then, and then it disappeared. I just saw it, like it flashes across your mind's eye, and then it's all like wisped away. Where were we? Despite his A-lister status due to his ability to completely immerse himself in his roles, Sam Witwer. That's what I'm thinking of, Sam Witwer, who played Starkiller. Well, his likeness. He might have done the voice as well, I can't remember. In the games, in the Force Unleashed games. Right, where were we? Immerse himself in his roles, sometimes to the point of being unrecognisable with his dramatic chops and comedic timing. Good for you! He could easily fit into any Star Wars role that suited him, though Lucasfilm would do well to use his talents wisely should both parties involved make things work. In the short term, fans of Bale can catch him in the upcoming David O. Russell-directed film Amsterdam and Scott Cooper's The Pale Blue Eye later this year. So there we go. They should do a film about robot chicken stormtrooper Gary. They should either give him his own series or do a film about him. Gary the stormtrooper, taking his kid to work and stuff like that. And being responsible for burning down Owen Lars and Aunt Beru's homestead accidentally by setting the bathroom on fire. Great stuff. Right, last story. You probably know this one because it set the internet on fire. Actually, we'll do it first. This is an article. The problem with bringing back Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. But we'll look at the videos first. I'll have to mute them eventually. But where are we? Start with the first one. Here we go. So you probably know this anyway, but I'll play it. Are you ready? I hope I don't get a copyright strike. We'll see what happens.
We're extremely sad to have missed D23, but we've been working very hard on the next Deadpool film for a good long while now. I've had to really search my soul on this one. His first appearance in the MCU obviously needs to feel special. We need to stay true to the character, find new depth, new motivation, new meaning. Every Deadpool needs to stand out and stand apart. It's been an incredible challenge that has forced me to reach down deep inside, and I have nothing. Yeah.
I like Ryan Reynolds.
Completely empty up here and terrifying. But we did have one idea. Hey, Hugh, you want to play Wolverine one more time?
Yeah, sure, Ryan.
Oh, they've taken it off already, thank goodness. They took off the music, they took off Coming Hune. Whitney Houston singing I Will Always Love You. They took it off because this isn't from the official, this is from movie trailers. So there you go, so that's that one. And then they followed it up, here we go, with Hugh and Ryan explaining what will go wrong. And I'll have to mute this as well, probably. We'll see what happens.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
You have questions.
Yes. I had a lot of questions. I'm sure you had a lot of questions, but rest assured, we're going to answer them right now. Like, for example, how is Wolverine alive after Logan?
Logan takes place in 2029, totally separate thing. Logan died in Logan, not touching that. What actually happens in our film is these two...
And then we have to put up with Wham and the Jitterbug. You can't tell what they're saying. But lip readers have said they're just speaking gibberish, so they just go blah, 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 rhubarb, 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 and blah, 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 ah, ah, and they're just doing that, basically. Stab, stab, stab. And it's all hugely amusing. And have they still got the music going? Yeah, they have. So when do they start talking again? Still music in and not saying anything.
Thank you, Kevin Feige.
Love you, Kevin Feige. Thank you, MCU.
Wake me up.
Shut up. Hey, there you go. So they're the two videos that set the internet alight. So Wolverine is going to be in Deadpool 3. Huzzah! Right. Den of Geek. Deadpool 3. The problem with bringing back Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, bringing Hugh Jackman back for Deadpool 3 might make for a fun team-up with Ryan Reynolds, but it doesn't help the MCU bring in its own X-Men. And there he is in Logan. Remember, spoilers, he died in Logan. But as they said, this is set before that. Right. If you know anything about Wolverine, you know this. He's the best at what he does. But what he does isn't very nice. And if you know anything about Hugh Jackman, you know this. So I've got little tears in my eyes after smiling and laughing at Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. He's among the best at what he does, and what he does is very crowd-pleasing. So it's great that he's back as Wolverine for Deadpool 3, right? After all, Jackman and Ryan Reynolds have made it clear that their adventure, set years before Logan, won't undo Logan's sacrifice. And anyway, if you don't like dead superheroes coming back to life, then X-Men, whose roster includes multiple characters whose defining feature is cheating death, may not be for you. But despite the initial excitement of seeing a fan favourite one last time, asking Jackman to don the Knucklehead's mutton chops once again presents serious problems for the future pardon me, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Oh, excuse me, sorry, I'm burping because I'm drinking pop. That's just an excuse, I'm always burping. Jackman comes from another era of superhero movies, from the start of the second wave following the initial output of Superman and Batman films. When X-Men came to theatres in 2000, only 2 big-screen Marvel movies existed: Blade, which ruled then and rules now, and Howard the Duck, which does not. Moreover, Superman and Batman succeeded in part because they didn't treat the comic book lore as seriously as fans did. As wonderful as Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder are as Superman and Lois Lane, the real draw to Superman was its big-budget special effects, the involvement of Marlon Brando and Gene Hackman, the latter of whom felt like he was in a different comedy movie opposite Ned Beatty and Valerie Perrine. And he had hair as well, didn't he? Until we found out that it was a wig at the end. Batman drew attention because it had Jack Nicholson and Tim Burton and a distinct aesthetic separate from the 1960s show. The weird jokes, i.e. cutaway gag to guy with ice cream cone during Zod's attack in Superman 2, and disregard for basic character traits like Batman kills a whole bunch of people, made superheroes palatable to a wider audience. So when Jackman appears on screen with a scowl and a stogie, his hair fashioned into the unlikely coif designed by David Cockrum, comic book fans couldn't help but cheer, and when they were like 6'4" or something in the Hugh Jackman, 6'3", and Wolverine was supposed to be about 5'5", wasn't he? But nobody were really bothered about that. And I wasn't either. When the movie stops to give us an insert shot of Wolverine's claws actually breaking the skin when they pop, our minds were blown. It felt like the people making the movie cared about Wolverine, that they got him. So happy were we that we didn't really care that Hugh Jackman looked nothing like Wolverine. Chris Claremont and his various artistic collaborators established Wolvie as a runt, a short and unattractive man whose bestial nature regularly drove him into berserker rages, even against his friends. An extremely talented actor, Jackman can furrow his brow and show signs of nobility against the beast howling inside him, but he can't change the fact that he's tall, handsome, and mostly hairless. To be clear, this is not a complaint. X-Men served as a crucial link between late 90s action movies like The Matrix and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, which gave us not one... and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, which gave us not one but 2 super characters in brightly coloured costumes, and a lot of that success came from Jackman's soulful performance, who, along with Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, reminded viewers that rich drama can be wrung from 4 colour characters. But that was over 2 decades ago. We're not in that place anymore, not when even your grandma knows who Groot is, not when Z-listers, Mr. Immortal and Porcupine show up in She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Oh, God. With public perception shifting, there's no need for Wolverine to be a certainly conflicted but largely standard-issue, good-hearted leading man. Viewers are ready for a feral scuzzball in bright yellow spandex. Up until Reynolds' announcement on social media, that's exactly what we expected. Not long ago, short-sighted comic book fans were actively cheering for Disney to swallow up more of the pop culture landscape by buying 20th Century Fox, precisely because the MCU could tap into the richness of the X-Men comics in a way that Fox had not. Speculation about SDCC, San Diego Comic-Con, and D23 announcements hoped that we'd hear about Carl Urban, Daniel Radcliffe, or Taron Egerton, or is it Edgerton? I don't know. Slapping on Wolvie's finned face in an upcoming movie. The Ms. Marvel mutant reveal and She-Hulk Wolverine tease. We're in a news article, wasn't it, in the sort of like blink and you'll miss it thing. Tease led us to believe that we'd get to see how the feared and hated X-Men would live in a world with the loved and trusted Avengers. We thought we'd see a new take on Wolverine, unlike the version played by Jackman for almost a quarter of a century. Of course, Jackman's part in the Deadpool movie comes with a litany of caveats. Deadpool famously knows he's in a movie, and the fourth wall breaking allows for a lot more levity than other characters. The stakes are going to be lower for this Wolverine, as it will almost assuredly play as a well-known actor playing a popular role more than it will be the introduction of a beloved character in the MCU. His appearance will likely have much in common with the return of his X-Men co-star and fellow Logan casualty, Patrick Stewart, as Professor X in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It were awful. Along those lines, Deadpool 3 will probably be another multiverse story like Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man No Way Home. And there's a frame, what they call them, a frame from the comics. But that's part of the problem. I hope this isn't a super long article. No, it didn't nearly do. But that's part of the problem. One more swan song for Stewart's Xavier won't undercut the MCU Professor X. Whoever they may be, come on Giancarlo Esposito. But Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina were already the definitive Green Goblin and Doc Ock in the public mind, even if the MCU eventually introduces more comic-accurate versions of those characters later down the road. The new actors will have to define themselves against Dafoe and Molina. Because we've already seen Tom Holland battle them. Instead of allowing the MCU to be a fresh take on characters from earlier eras, No Way Home saddled them with unnecessary baggage for easy nostalgia points. Jackman will be doing the same in Deadpool 3. Jackman's performance deserves praise, especially from superhero fans. He took the role seriously and crafted a unique character, tragic and inspiring. The X-Men franchise, if not the entire state of superhero movies, would not be such a success without his commitment to the role. But Wolverine had existed for more than 25 years before Jackman played him, appearing in hundreds of stories. To paraphrase one of the first and best of those stories, Jackman's taken his shot. Now it's someone else's turn. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if the talk, not even talking into it, might be all for it. What's her face? Jean Grey, the Jean Grey actress. You know what I mean? That played Jean Grey in the X-Men films. What's she called now? She's in Star Trek as well. And James Bond. See, I'm going to have to look her up now. See, we're going to have to look her up. What shall I look up? I don't know. We'll look up GoldenEye. It'll come to me before we get to the Famke Janssen. There we go, Famke Janssen. Yeah, me and names. As soon as I hit record, my brain empties. But I won't be surprised if they get Famke Janssen to come on board as somehow as another multiverse Jean Grey. I bet they do, because he spent all the 3 films, the first 3 X-Men films, mooning over her, didn't he? Until he killed her in the 3rd one. Spoilers. But yeah. So I don't think there'd be any problems. I don't think there's a problem with bringing back Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I think that's a misleading title. It's not a problem, because it's Deadpool and anything can happen. Right, we'll leave it there. There's 3 stories. So, by the way, I did a UFO news thing earlier on today, so check that out and give us a like and a subscribe and all that stuff. But we'll leave it there for now. So, wherever you are in the universe, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.